you for having me here today. I know Vinay very well. For the last 2 years, we've been working together on the development of a global grant. I do have a PowerPoint. Is that? Oh, I'm in control. Okay. Thank you. So I've been working with Vinay for the last couple years in the development of a global grant that is designated as sanitation and peace. I think it's the only peace global grant that's happening in the district right now. It may even be the only peace global grant that has happened in the district, and that's because it's really difficult to get these global grants pushed through. And so we thought that maybe by utilizing somebody like me, a Peace Fellow, that would kind of help with this process so that we could create a global grant that would also encompass peace issues as well as sanitation. So we've been working on, I'll go quickly over the project that we've been working on, which started last September, and then I'll talk a little bit about Peace Global Grants and how Peace Fellows can help to make that happen. So we've been working with an organization called Swatch. Those of you who are Punekars may know of Swatch. They manage most of the waste management system here in Pune. There are about 2,800 waste pickers who collect waste door to door from about 500,000 households. That's about, I guess, half the households in Pune. And they do it with manual push carts. These are people who used to be picking out of a landfill. Then they were uplifted through a waste picker trade union that's about 10,000 members strong here in Pune. These are firsts in India, and they are considered models around the world for socially based waste management systems. So these are waste management systems that are really benefiting the poor and benefiting the people who need it most. So I had known about Swatch for many years because my specialty is in waste management, and you know, I've traveled around the world. I've seen a lot of systems. I've seen a lot of structures in waste management, and honestly, I have to say that the Swatch model is the one that I'm the most impressed with because for me, it does exemplify peace. So we wanted to develop a project for Swatch that addressed some of their basic needs, not one that was going and giving them handouts, things that they needed, and then disappeared, because that doesn't really help them for the long term. So the first thing that we decided we needed to do was to establish some trainings around an issue that was most present in their mind, that was a major problem for them. And the issue that they brought to us was the issue of sanitary waste. So most people who dispose of diapers, sanitary napkins, these things, they don't tend to wrap it well or mark it. And so when Swatch collects your waste, they actually manually segregate it to pull out recyclables. And because they do that, they're able to have better recycling rates than any city in the United States and most of Europe. So, I mean, these are people who are able to protect our environment, to protect our health because they're manually segregating, but it also puts them in touch with sanitary waste, which exposes them to serious illnesses, staph, typhoid, E. coli, these types of illnesses. So they realized that something needed to be done. At the same time, central and state rules changed, mandating the segregated household management of sanitary waste. So this was a great opportunity, and we thought that we would grasp on this for our global grant. So first we organized trainings. We wanted to empower the waste pickers themselves to lead a campaign to try to get local citizens to manage their sanitary waste in a way that better protected their health and dignity. And so we are in the process of these trainings. We've already had about 4 months worth of trainings. We conduct 6 trainings a month. And total, those trainings cover about 200 kind of waste picker leaders that Swatch has identified. And those leaders then go out into their zones and they train the other Swatch members. So it's kind of a trickle-down training effect that we're working with. And in a couple of months, those waste pickers who are being trained will go out into the community and start training community groups. So if you have a Rotary club or a society that is interested in having a waste picker come and give a presentation, we're trying to work with them on maybe giving kind of a funny presentation, something that's a little bit lighthearted, but that really cuts to the issue at hand. So we've got these trainings, and the other component, here's a photo from the trainings. One aspect is that we really want the waste pickers to run this campaign, and we also want them to be as much the face of the campaign as possible. So what is the campaign? The campaign is to wrap and mark your sanitary waste. Wrap it in newspaper and mark it with a red dot. It's a really simple thing to do, and it's something that now the Pune Municipal Corporation is on board with and that we are starting to spread around the city. as part of the campaign and part of our Rotary project, we're also stenciling. So that was part of my role, was to develop stencils to stencil onto push carts, informing people the basics of what they need to do with their sanitary waste. Another big aspect of the campaign was this video, which was produced by my husband, Brody, who's here taking photos.
Okay, sure. Okay. Okay. Right.
हा कचरा कुणाच्याही कामावर ठेवल्याला आवडणार नाहीये.
उघड्यावर टाकलेला सॅनिटरी कचरा हाताळणे आमच्या आरोग्याला हानिकारक आहे. सॅनिटरी कचरा म्हणजे डायपर आणि पॅड कागदात गुंडाळून त्याच्यावर लाल बिंदू लावून दिला तर आम्हाला समजेल की ते उघडायचं नाही. त्याचं व्यवस्थित वर्गीकरण करता येईल आणि त्या कचऱ्याची योग्य विल्हेवाट पण लावता येईल.
So it's a pretty simple video. It's addressing an issue that most people don't really want to talk about or think about. But we put it on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and it suddenly went viral. It's been shared like 220,000 times. It's the Facebook post itself, I think, has been how many million? We got 10 million people saw the post, and 4.5 million people now have actually watched the video. So it was really beyond our expectations popular out in the world. And I guess these are issues that people are starting to see as critical, which is very positive feedback for us. We've also gotten a lot of feedback from around the country because there are about 6 million waste pickers in India. And this is a critical livelihood for a group of people who these are people who don't necessarily have economic alternatives, right? Most of you probably know that most of India's waste pickers are scheduled or outcast status. These are people who have experienced systematic economic and social marginalization for centuries. And so it was for that reason that we didn't just apply for this grant as a sanitation grant, which is fairly obvious that it is a sanitation grant, right? We're improving the sanitary system for Pune. But this is also a peace grant. And why? Because we're working with a population that is marginalized, and that, if it doesn't gain more favor in the public, if it isn't more accepted as a legitimate and very effective waste management provider, then you're going to see what is a very common trend in India and around the world, which is that you have large, very wealthy waste management firms coming in saying, look, what they're doing is not sanitary. They're digging through the garbage and they're being exposed to diapers. You need to clean up your waste management system. So why don't you get rid of waste pickers, and we're going to come with our mechanized trucks and our mechanized systems, and we're going to take over the waste management system. And that might seem really harsh, but that's actually what's happening in many places around the world. Well, what that does is it puts 6 million people out of a job. And when you have 6 million people out of a job who don't have necessarily the social integration or acceptance to find economic alternatives, then you do see real sources of conflict. And so this is a very real peace issue. It wasn't that easy for us to convince Rotary International at first that this was a peace issue, because there is some conventional thinking among some people that peace has to be, conflict resolution. And conflict prevention is a very difficult thing to measure, and social exclusion is also a very difficult thing to measure. And these peace indexes that currently exist in the world aren't yet doing a very effective job of measuring things like social exclusion. And so this is where Peace Fellows really came in. The area of focus coordinator for Rotary International is a past Peace Fellow, Rebecca Piercy, and she really jumped on and helped us advocate that this is a peace issue and this needs to be brought out as a peace issue so that people can understand that, in order to conduct global grants under the heading of peace, it doesn't have to be something like you're going out in the field and conducting mediation among warring forces. It can also be something that is addressing issues of social exclusion, or it can be combined with other areas of focus like sanitation to bring these issues to light, but in ways that also do really promote peace. The campaign will continue in the end. Sometime in March, PMC is going to also launch a press conference and do some publicity, and we're going to be sending out a lot of kind of promotional ideas, and the waste pickers are also going to be going out into communities. So if you do, like I said, if you want a waste picker to come to your community group or to your school or to your Rotary Club, please, we have a booth outside with my assistant Gulnar is there, and you can sign up. Just leave us your name and phone number, and in a couple of months when we're ready to come and give those presentations, we will contact you. This is my contact. I'm not quite done. So the last thing that I did want to say as well is that, Darshan and I are both Peace Fellows, and I think that, this is the first global grant that has enlisted the help of a Peace Fellow to develop and run a global grant. But it shouldn't be the last, because we are out in the world. We're generally out in the field practicing conflict resolution or peace projects. And we also are pretty up to date on peace issues because we were recently trained at Rotary International peace sites. So, really trying to kind of refresh ideas of peace and bring in new ideas on what's happening in the peace and conflict resolution world. I think that enlisting the help of Rotary Peace Fellows is really imperative, and it's something that we're out there and willing to do. I would even recommend if Rotary International would develop a database so that if you say you want to run a waste management project, even if it's not a peace project, and you just want to send an email to a peace fellow who is an expert in this area to say, hey, we have this idea and we wanted to know if this is really the best way forward for this. I would love it if people would consult me, for example, before going and running a waste incineration project or, doing something that I might be able to give some other types of advice on. So please reach out to your Rotary Peace Fellows and work to even create some Rotary Peace Fellows in your area by recruiting new people to the program, because it's really changed our life. I think I can speak for Darshan and myself for that. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to all of Rotary for your incredible support over the years.
Thank you. Thank you, Tida.